In this chapter, we're going to be making the project you see here on the screen. We'll be using presets, adding some effects, and some animations as well. But before we get started and jump into that, I want to give you a video about the overview of the workflow of After Effects from start to finish. After Effects does so much stuff, it's easy to get sort of lost in the shuffle. You might know how to create a certain effect, but might not get how or where it fits in the entire scope of things in the entire workflow. So I'm going to resize my interface. The interface is fully customizable. Projects begin in the project panel. We'll double click in a blank area in the project panel to import assets. Assets, also sometimes called media, clips, footage, or whatever it is, these are things you import. And things that qualify as footage is video, audio, still images, and just about anything else you can import into After Effects. Typically, footage is a video-only term, but in After Effects it means anything. The project panel is kind of like a bank, where we store everything we bring into our project. It doesn't mean we have to use everything, it's kind of like a reference, like a bank account. You don't have to spend all your money in your bank account, it's just there if you need it. Then we need to create a composition. A composition is like a project within a project. New compositions can be created by clicking on this button down here in the project panel. Once you click that button, the composition dialog box pops up, and you can name and change settings of your composition. I'm going to hit cancel because we have our composition made. Compositions show up as tabs down here in what we call the timeline panel. In the timeline panel we stack layers. Typically these are footage items that we've imported. And we also have our timeline. We can scrub left and right in our timeline using this little playhead we call current time indicator. If we move backwards, we move back in time. If we move forward, we move forward in time. Now we have a whole host of other panels that we can use here in After Effects. The most common of those panels would be the Effects and Presets panel, which will be found right here. Here we can search and apply presets and effects. Let's say I want to blur our text layer. I would select the layer here in the timeline panel. Then I would search for blur. Now I will get all the presets and effects that have the word blur in it. Now you guys might have a lot more options here because I have something turned off. Now come down here to the drop down menu right here and uncheck the show animation presets. You do not want to have that on right now because it just causes a cluster. Now while selecting on to reach our goals, which are by our text layer, I'll come down here to fast blur and I'll double click on it and it automatically imports it onto our track. And you come up here to our effects control panel, as you can see. Now let's add a little bit of blurriness to it, just as an effect. Now if you don't want an effect, I just select the effect and hit the delete button. All effects in After Effects are completely non-destructible, which means you can add, delete, and just play around with all of them and not have no consequences. Now getting back to the timeline, this is where we create animation. And when you animate objects, you'll see these little things called keyframes. They indicate animation. And so once we've imported objects, brought them to our composition, added effects, moved things around, animated, then it's time to export. In other words, we send our project out into a video or another format a different program will understand. To do that, we go to our composition menu at the top of the screen and we select add to render queue. And from the render queue, we have a powerful method of outputting videos. We don't have to just output video, we can also output image sequence or audio. Obviously there's a lot more to it than just that. But in a nutshell, that is the whole After Effects workflow. In the next movie we're going to actually go into assembling this movie from scratch.